YouTube, vinyl community, Beach Boys fans, random people on the internet. My name is Giggins, and today we're going to do a fan-requested video. Unfortunately, I lost the fan's name in the comments section there, but he wanted to see a video about Bruce Johnston either leaving the band or being fired from the band in 1972. And so what I wanted to do for this video was something totally different, was actually read clips from books that I have about the guys. And so, just so you can make up your own mind about this and see kind of what you thought may have happened. But I'm using 3 books right now. One of them, not my favorite, but 2 of them I love. So the first one here, Heroes and Villains by Steve Gaines, came out in the 80s. Make of this one what you will. There are some good facts in this one, but a lot of it is kind of, it feels like it's blown out of proportion, but maybe it's not. Some of it just seem a bit weird, but anyways. So this first bit, I'll read you a little bit here. So long story short, Jack Riley was becoming their manager at this point, trying to figure out new ways to get the guys popular and get them better contracts and stuff. And so here we go. But from the start, Bruce Johnston, more sophisticated and less gullible than the rest, mistrusted Riley and his intentions. And as the year progressed, Johnston and Riley began to openly dislike each other. Said one observer, Bruce was definitely the one who most clearly saw what Jack Riley was up to. Said another, Bruce was raising the flag early about Riley, and he felt that he should have been fired. The turning point came when Bruce was reportedly shown a letter that Riley had written to a drummer, not Dennis, which Bruce termed a love letter. When push came to shove, Bruce Johnston left the group after 7 years with them, allegedly by the unanimous vote of the rest of the group, instigated by Riley. Johnston claims he wasn't fired, but left by a mutual decision. He didn't seem to take it too personally, however, telling one reporter, I don't know if he was trying to get rid of me. I think he was just trying to redirect the band. So that's the first part from Heroes and Villains. The second part is a very brief little bit from The Beach Boys in Concert, one of the best books out there. If you want to learn about almost every show they ever played, this is the one. Great book. This one takes place here on Sunday, April 2nd, 1972. So this was about a week before Bruce left the band. April 10th is when Bruce left. So Sunday, April 2nd, the Fort Homer Hesterly Armory, Tampa, Florida, 8 p.m. show. The Beach Boys played to a less than capacity crowd at the Armory. This marked This marked the last full concert Bruce played with them until 1978. Obviously, he would jump on stage and stuff once in a while. The little bit about here says, Perry Fulkerson of the Evening Independent was disappointed by changes that had taken place in the group since he last saw them in 1966. So it had been 8 years before, come on, pal. He felt that in the process, they had lost what made them unique. Quote, now they're like all the other rock groups, not only in appearance but in sound. They've added a few new members to their group, none of which I feel really fits in. Their new lead guitarist, Blondie, was very loud and hard rockish. Their bass player, Jeff, was freaky, and their drummer, Ricky, was too basic. The total volume was extremely loud, out of character, distorting, and nearly covering the rumble of the surf. Yawn. Put the record back on, pal. This is the longer one. This is one of my favorite books of all time, The Beach Boys by Keith Badman. I got this book in high school. I think it's long out of print at this point, but it came out in 2004, and I got it when it came out, and it's one of the most valuable books I've ever owned of the Beach Boys. It's almost a day-by-day, play-by-play of them. So this one's a bit longer. With recordings for Carl and the Passions nearly at an end, Bruce Johnston unexpectedly leaves the Beach Boys. Bruce had been a Beach Boy for exactly 7 years and 1 day. First report suggests that he had become dissatisfied with Jack Riley's style of management, and with the division of the group into fractions. He cites differences in musical policy as his main reason for departure. Other reports suggest that Riley had fired Bruce. Riley tells Rolling Stone, something just wasn't gelling. The guys felt that Bruce's talent musically was more of a solo artist. No personal animosity was involved. It's one of those things you can't quite put your finger on. The official statement released by the group and their management reads, Bruce has left the Beach Boys by mutual consent. Bruce tells the New Musical Express, the NME, I guess I left because there was an uncomfortable feeling around in the band. We all felt uncomfortable with one another. I'm surprised that we all didn't quit. I have other ambitions in producing and arranging, and I felt very restricted. I felt that in order to achieve these ambitions and save friendships, I should leave, and I left. Also, I was getting lazy. I was making too much and only writing about 2 or 3 songs a year. I also realized that Brian probably wouldn't be playing an active role in the Beach Boys again, and that the group was like a beautiful harmonic orchestra without a composer or arranger. It actually took me 3 years to figure out that he was not coming back to the group. Unfortunately, he set standards for the group, and even though some of the records the Beach Boys did after he quit were very good, they didn't reach Brian's standards. Mike Love said, "We had a meeting and we discussed the personal problems within the group and the relationship between the various members within the group, and some of us had no relationship at all. Bruce said, if that's the way you feel about it, maybe I should just leave. I don't want to leave, but maybe it's for the best. All I know is that he left because he wasn't too happy about things. It was decided that because of a couple of feelings harbored by different members of the group and the way that things went down and with Bruce developing a solo career, it made it more or less an uncompromising situation. It was very amicable. The Beach Boys never threw him out. He was just on a tangent that was outside the Beach Boys for so many years." He continues for a little bit more here. "He's just doing his own thing now, and it remains to be seen what happens. It's not a closed thing. Bruce is free to write with us or record with us. We'll just see if he comes up with any good songs with the group." And then Bruce says, "I suppose I should make an official statement regarding my departure from the Beach Boys, but I'm kind of superstitious about discussing the future. I had a lot of hopes and dreams of the Beach Boys, but now I think it's time to transfer all those things to me. There are things I've wanted to accomplish on my own, and you just have to strike off on your own and do it." That was Monday, April the 10th. So, what do you think? Did Riley force Bruce to leave, or did Bruce leave on his own accord? There are definitely reports that the group was talking about splitting at that point. Nothing too well known, because obviously it's a humongous group, and they were still fairly young at that point, old in the rock and roll scene. But there's a great interview with Carl from around 1972 or 3 where he talks about the group, living in different parts and even thinking about possibly doing solo projects. So, Denny was doing movies. A movie. So the guys were doing different projects at this time, and Bruce may have felt that the direction the Beach Boys were going in wasn't the way he wanted to go. I mean, he has been pretty vocal about the song "You Need a Massive Help to Stand Alone," which he thought vocally wasn't the most interesting thing they ever did. And he's on most of the So Tough album, Carl and the Passions album. So my thoughts on it are, it was probably a mutual decision between all of them. I don't think he was fired, but it was probably hinted at, maybe you should do your own thing. Because he didn't want to lose the friendship, which at the end of the day is pretty important, because you could be in a band with somebody and hate them, but if you could be friends with someone, it makes being in a band so much better. And obviously Bruce had some good success on his own with I Write the Songs, winning a Grammy for that and having a big hit with it with Barry Manilow. He got back together with Terry Melcher, and he was doing his own thing. He was a big deal before he joined the Beach Boys anyway. It's not that the Beach Boys made him famous. Like, he was already a big deal. Joining the Beach Boys was like the cherry on top. And so leaving the Beach Boys meant he can go back to do his own thing again. And of course, he's on almost all their albums of the 70s besides Holland. But he's on 15 Big Ones, he's on The Beach Boys Love You. He was around all the time. And then eventually rejoining the band in 1978 and producing the next 2 albums. So, who knows? I do think it was kind of like, it may have come to a head. If people weren't happy with each other, it was probably suggested and then done out of goodwill for each other. I don't think there was a firing of, you're out, you're done, get out of here. It was probably numerous conversations over years that kind of led to a breaking point. So that's my thoughts on it. And thank you for letting me read from a book. How boring is that? But I thought it'd be easier to just read from that instead of kind of explaining it. That way, even more succinct proof from a couple of texts to kind of make up your own mind about it. So that's it. What do you think? Was Bruce fired from the band, or did he leave? What are your thoughts? Very curious to know. Again, thank you to the poster who asked me to do this video. I can't remember your name. I should have written it down. But great idea for a video. So that's it. My name is Giggins. This has been Did Bruce Leave? Was he fired? From the Beach Boys. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.